really feel out of place. I really do feel out of place. Think about it. Look at the people on the stage. And I'm there sitting right in the middle. And I think Advocate S.K. Jain recognized that. And he must have felt my awkwardness, so he bestowed me a doctorate straight up. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd just like to say, I truly mean it when I say that I'm honored to be sitting amongst all of you. And I'm not going to be here tomorrow. In fact, I'm on a flight in another 45 minutes. But I have got 1 hour 45 minutes to speak. No. We'll keep it short. Since I'm not here tomorrow, I've been given a little longer time to speak. I want to tell you a little about myself. Thank you. You said most of it, but I'm going to say a little more. I was a very shy child. A shy child who did not have a dad, and my mother tried very hard to get me out of my shell. I never spoke. I had a speech defect. I used to lisp. I used to squeak. I used to do all kinds of awkward things, but never spoke. And my mother used to worry about me because she was a widow who had to bring up 4 kids, and this kid who was dyslexic, dyscalculic, had all kinds of learning disabilities. So now you know what I'm saying when I was finding the awkwardness on the stage. But I was on stage once and I was singing in the choir, and my mother sitting somewhere around there. She was smiling throughout the evening of the annual function. And I asked her, Mom, why were you smiling so much? And she said, because you were smiling for the first time in your life. And that's such a relief for a parent to know that the child eventually is happy. And why was he happy? She recognized that. Woman in the 60s, a widow of 31, she said, I found your nursery. Isn't that beautiful? And I said, what's that, Mom? She said, the stage. You like the stage, I recognize that. That's beautiful. So you're going to find your nursery, my young friends. Whatever you do, in whatever education, whatever doctorates that you may achieve, find your nursery so that you will blossom and enjoy where you are. And she put me on stage. She encouraged me to watch films. She encouraged me to go to speech therapy and what have you. I used to watch films every single day. That was my education. I understood history, every single subject that I could not study in school, I understood through movies, especially the human condition. And I must have been 11 years old, and my mother was a shopkeeper. She was sitting in this way. We were dukandars, all right? So was I for 14 years, just by the way. And I was sitting in the shop, and I was 11 years old, and there was my father's friend who came visiting, and he was asking her questions. And then he asked her, what's running at the novelty cinema? The novelty cinema's screen wall was shared by our back wall, right? And I said, El Cid. It was a very famous film back in the day. And the old man looks at me and says, how the hell does this kid know? Of course I know. I'd seen every movie multiple times, even as an 11-year-old, understanding art and understanding storytelling. And then she told the uncle, his name was Farooq, Farooq, would you like to see El Cid? So he says, yeah, but you know how it is. I say, no, Bhavan will take you. Bhavan will take you. So, really? And I took Farooq uncle to see El Cid. And I sat by him and I told him the story in his ear. I had to tell the story in his ear because Farooq uncle was blind. And what it did for me, my friends, what it did for me is that it empowered me. That my mother thought that an 11-year-old kid who has learning disability has the power to tell a blind man a story while it's running on screen. That's empowerment, right? So I went to the Taj Mahal Hotel for my interview. There was a Parsi gentleman called Sam Bhara. Remember the name? Sam Bhara. And I was standing there with my bow tie and I practiced all. We're all going to do it, or probably all of you done it before, right? Your first job. And he asked me, which department do you want to join? Taj Hotel. So maybe style like that. Food and beverage. And he turns on and says, hey, idiot, drop the accent. There's a big lesson in there. There's a big lesson in there, whether it's for your first job, or whether you're playing a character in a film, or whether you're auditioning for a film. Be truthful. I can't stress how important it is. Be truthful. And I said, yeah, food and beverage. So he turns around and says, the whole bloody hotel business is about food and beverage. Which department? I said, Rendezvous. Rendezvous was the most expensive restaurant in Mumbai, on the rooftop of the Taj. I said, that's good, you want. He taught me a new lesson that even Shashi, new word that even Shashi Tharoor has never learned. That word is want. He said, you want something and that's good. Guys, you must want something in life. You don't want something, and you have to have many mini wants before you get to your big lifelong achievement, Vala want. Right? He says, excellent, I'm so very proud of you. You want something. You want to go to the rooftop restaurant, the French restaurant? I said, yeah. He said, start in the basement, you idiot. And he sent me down to the basement with a pichkari in my hand, washing dishes and folding napkins. It took me 2 years to get to the rendezvous, which is the destination, the meeting place. And why am I telling you this story? This is not a biodata or a biography story. It's to tell you that there are no shortcuts. What he said basically was that you think I'm going to send you up there directly? No, my friend, you've got to work your way up. And believe me, it's not about the first job itself. As an actor, every single time I get a role, I have to figure out one more time that I do not know this job. I've got to start understanding that human being, that character that I'm going to embody one more time in a deeper and the deepest way possible, because now I've got the experience behind it. I did theatre. I worked at the shop for 14 years as a shopkeeper. And then I did theatre for 14 years. And then it was time to become a movie star. Right? And Ram Madhwani comes up to me and says, I've got a movie for you. I said, yeah, trying to make some money. And he offered me a film called Let's Talk. Have you heard of it? I don't really. He says, you will write the film with me. And we will shoot this film in 7 days. It might take 6 months, 9